Hey there, this is Red. It's time for another episode of Red Plays. I was actually sitting down getting ready for the Super Bowl. I'm here in Kansas City, and I was getting all set up for that and realized that I haven't done a Marvel Champions setup video yet. And so it's about time I should show you how to, while I'm getting set up for a great game, I should show you how to get set up for this great game. So let's go through a quick setup. We'll do Captain America versus Rhino, I think is what we'll get set up for in just standard mode, right? So I've got my box. I'm going to pull stuff out of my box here. And you've got your basic instruction manuals. So I've got my Learn to Play. So in the Learn to Play guide, there's actually setup instructions. And they've got great pictures and a layout to show you everything to do. My problem is using this to show you how to set up is that it takes up a lot of real estate. So I'm not going to use this version. I'm going to take it and get it out of the way. All right, out of the way. What I am going to use is in the rules reference towards the back in Appendix 2, I think it is, there's a list of setup rules. So I'm going to take that and we'll put that over here under my card camera. Try to get that center. We should probably flatten it out. Let me put something on there to help make it a little bit flatter. There we go. All right, so we're Appendix 2 card setup. All right, so I go look at my box here. I've actually got, I 3D printed these off of Thingiverse. I've got Board Game Geek had some dividers that I put in there to help keep my stuff in order. So your box may not look like this. If it does, cool. Then you got stuff like I do. But this is how I've got my stuff set up at this point in time. These dividers really help keep track of where everything's at. Anyway, back to the point. We're doing setup. The first part of the setup is to select your hero. So I've got Captain America stuff right here, and I'm going to play the Captain America deck, right? So I'm going to grab Captain America. Now I've just got the base deck set up. So I have my Steve Rogers, I have my Obligation, which is Man at a Time. I have my Nemesis cards here, and then I have my deck, which is the standard Captain America, some basic cards, and the leadership cards, just to match what's on there, right? So there's my hero. Now the idea is you should be selecting your hero before you're playing the villain, because you shouldn't be building your hero deck to beat a specific villain, right? You should be just kind of an all-around hero that you could go against any villain. So the thought here is you select your hero before you select the villain, so that way you're not preparing specifically like you're putting all the anti-Ultron cards into your deck in order to fight Ultron. Your hero should be well-rounded and able to take on any of the villains. So anyway, I'm well-rounded because I'm just using the base card and I haven't swapped anything in. So base deck for Captain America, ready to go. So I've done step 1, I've got my hero. Step 2 is set hit points. So I need to grab one of these dials here. Go with this dial, and I want to be at 11 hit points. Because if you look on Captain America here, what you see down here at the bottom is hit points, and it's 11, so I need 11 on my dial, so I'm going to dial her down to 11 and 11. So we got 11 hit points for Captain America. All right, next up, step 3, first player. Well, that's pretty easy for me because I play solo, but if there were more of us playing, then we'd figure out who would be first player. So playing solo, so it's me. I'm first player. Big shock. All right. Next up, let's see here. So we did number 3. Now we're number 4. Set aside obligations. So that's my obligation. We're going to kick that out. Set aside our Nemesis set, which is this right here. And actually, I'm going to grab my thing that I use to keep track of my cards, which is just, I've got these kind of little magnetic-y things, more stuff I made off of Thingiverse, right? I'm going to put my Nemesis cards up here in the corner, because I may or may not need them while I play. So I'll just kind of set them in there, and let's move that up and out of the way. We'll put it right there. That's where I usually put it. All right, so I set aside my Nemesis set. It's there and out of the way. And I have my obligation out of the way, and now I'm going to shuffle my player deck. So this is my player deck of cards. I'm going to shuffle it up. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Shuffle, I actually shuffled it up a bunch before, so we'll just take it and drop it in there. I have my player deck. So my player deck is set up at this point in time. All right, collect tokens and status cards is step 7. So here's what I would recommend. Your I would recommend that you make multiple piles of your tokens or get little containers. I use these little glass things I picked up from the dollar store. They're great because they're easy to reach into, and they're being glass, you're clear and you can see into them very easily. So you want to keep your damage tokens. These 1 point damage tokens will probably be the thing you're using the most, and your 1 point threat tokens you'll be using the most. I would keep the threat tokens closer to where you're going to have the villain at, and the damage tokens closer, unfortunately, to where you're going to be at. Hopefully you don't have to use many of the 3 and 5 damage tokens unless you're putting them on the villain, or on the minions actually. The 5 and 3 threat tokens, again, hopefully you don't have to use many of those. Keep those off to the side. Acceleration tokens, and there's some other counters for like Hawkeye's arrows. I tend to use these other counters for. I don't use them that often, so those can be even further away. The other thing is you're going to need some status cards. So in my plays so far, the most often used card is Stunned. So I should probably put that closest to me. Next is Toughness. Run across Toughness fairly often. And then Confused, I haven't hit a whole bunch. Maybe it's just the heroes and the things I've been playing, but haven't hit Confused all that often yet. So got those set up and ready to go. All right, so we have our tokens and our status cards, which was step 7. Step 8 is select the villain. So we said we're going to play Rhino. So we're going to dig Rhino out here. All right. Let's see, we're going to select a villain, put the villain deck and main scheme deck into play near the center of the play area. So I'm going to actually move this stuff out of the way. Sorry, I'm going to take it off camera. And we're going to do Rhino 1, 2, and we have our main scheme here. All right, we're going to set our villain's hit points. So Rhino here says he starts off with 21. So I'm going to grab the big dial, or whatever it is that you use, and I'm going to set it to 21. 21. There we go. 21 for our villain. All right, our next step is resolve scheme setup. So I'm going to follow the instructions on side 1A. So if I read down side 1A for the break-in, it says Rhino's attacking the shield facility. Rhino 1 and Rhino 2, which I've got here. So actually I can take Rhino 3 and ditch it. So I've got Rhino 1 and Rhino 2. And instead for expert mode, I put Rhino 3 in there, but I'm not. I'm doing standard. So I need Rhino and the standard encounter set. So I need to have my Rhino set. I'm going to grab out of my box here the standard set. So one of the things that I tend to do, if I look at my Rhino cards here, it says 7 of 21. So what I'll do is there's the Rhino I chucked out of the way. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I like to verify that I've got my cards because sometimes as I'm playing different games, card might get taken out and shuffled into something else. And then I'm getting my standard encounter deck here, which says 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 7 of them. And then I look on my card and 1 modular encounter set, and it recommends Bomb Scare. So I'm going to go through here and I'm going to grab out Bomb Scare, which is right here. There we go. We've got a Bomb Scare now. So Bomb Scare says it has 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got 6 cards. So Rhino cards, my standard encounter deck, and the Bomb Scare, right? And then it's going to tell me to advance to stage 1B. So that's going to go up there. All right, so we've got our scheme set up, and next we're going to shuffle our encounter deck. So we're going to take this and this and shuffle our encounter deck up. Now the one thing I need to do also is put the obligation in there. So we're going to grab Steve's obligation here and toss it in here. Now where this becomes important is there's some other cards that are going to, some of the other villains will cause you to do things like draw cards out of the deck. And you're going to put your cards and shuffle them up and then draw the cards out of the deck before the obligation goes in there. Then you should put the obligation in and draw the cards for that. Oh, sorry. Then you should draw and then put the obligation in and shuffle the cards up. I think Claw does a little bit of that where you're pulling out an encounter and then Well, Ultron doesn't pull anything out of his deck, but he's going to pull stuff off the top of your deck when you get Ultron ready. All right. So we have our villain encounter deck ready to go. I'm going to drop that right there. All right. So next up is draw cards. So I'm going to draw cards, and I have a hand size of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see what I've got for Steve Rogers. And I've got Wonder Man, Power of Leadership, Honorary Avenger, Captain America's Helmet, Quinjet, and Strength in Numbers. So what I could do at this point is decide whether I want a mulligan or not. Now, normally when I play, I kind of get disgusted at this point. If I don't like it, I take all my cards and toss them in there. I don't have to do that. I can select cards that I want to keep and get rid of the other ones. So I could say, well, Wonder Man and his Power of Leadership are nice. I think I will hold on to those. And Honorary Avenger is totally not going to do me any good. We'll keep the Quinjet. I'm not impressed with Captain America's Helmet and Strength in Numbers. So Strength in Numbers and Honorary Avengers aren't great starting cards. So I'm going to mulligan those 3 cards and just draw 3. So I'd get 1, 2, 3. And then at that point in time, I've done step 13. I've resolved my mulligans. I do step 14, which is resolve any setup effects. And Steve Rogers happens to have a setup effect. And if you look there on Steve Rogers, he says, I'm going to search my deck and discard pile for the Captain America shield. And then I'm going to add it and shuffle it up. So I grab my, because I didn't see it in the cards that I had. Oh, there's Captain America shield. I'm going to add it to my stuff. I'm going to shuffle this deck up, which as I looked at it, I had 2 of my super soldier serums were my bottom 2 cards. So actually I'm kind of glad to shuffle this up a little bit because that's not where I wanted those to be at. All right. So at this point, I'm ready to dig in and start playing, and I'd start going through, I'd start off with my player phase and start beating on the Rhino. I would be probably using, ooh, I got a Heroic Strike. Ooh, I'd have to figure out which way I want to go, Allies or Heroic Strike, and smack him down. So there we go. That is getting set up for Marvel Champions. Thank you. Thanks for watching this episode. Please leave any comments or suggestions you have below. If you like this episode, make sure to click on that like button, and you can click on the crazy jackalope to stay up to date with any new content that rolls out.